Hello guys, welcome to the Civic Education lesson. In today's Civic Education lesson, we'll be looking at the civil society and media in governance. Alright, so we'll be looking at civil society and media in governance. Alright, so you must understand that in any democratic society, civil society and media play crucial roles in ensuring good governance. Alright, they act as watchdogs, advocates, and facilitators of public participation in governance process. So these are very important, and that's why we need to look at them, because civil society organization monitor governance actions and expose corruption, inefficiency, and abuse of power, promoting accountability and integrity in public administration. And just like medias, also these medias such as the newspapers, the television, the radios, and online platforms that disseminate information also plays a crucial role in informing citizens, shaping public opinion, and holding those in power accountable. So because of these roles which the civil society and media plays in governance, it's very important that we look at them in detail so that we understand more and what they are. All right, so we will start by looking at first introduction to civil society organizations. All right, so that we understand what these are and examples of some of them. So then we have to look at what are civil society organizations. What are they? So you must understand that civil society organizations are non-military, non-governmental groups and individuals who work to promote and defend good governance outside the government. Yeah, so these civil society organizations are just groups of individuals that are not government based or that are not in government, and these individuals just work to promote and defend good governance outside the government. They ensure that the government is ruling according to the rule of law, and also it is respecting the rights of the citizens. There's no corruption, there's actually following of the rule. All these things that are lined up and that the government has to do must be followed very correctly. That's what these civil society organizations are there for. So they are there to ensure that they promote and defend good governance outside the government. All right, so let us then look at types of civil organizations. So there are so many types of civil organizations that we are going to look at. The first one is actually international organizations. So among civil organizations that are there, one of them are international organizations. All right, and some of them are number two, pressure groups, and then we have what we call civic organizations, and then we have women's groups, and then we have what we call professional associations. So we'll be looking at these ones in detail one by one, but I have just to state them here. So we have professional associations, then we have also industrial organizations, and then we have also lastly we have what we call religious organizations. So these are some of the types of also civil society organizations. All right, so let's proceed and look at the international civil or society organization. All right, so we are looking at international civil society organizations. So let us look at now examples of these we are calling international civil society organizations. All right, so some of the examples include what we are calling as women in law and development in Africa, which is WIDAF, WIDAF. Okay, so this is an example of an international civil society organization, women in law and development in Africa. Then another example is women in law in Southern Africa, which is the WILSA. Then another one is the Inter-African Network for Human Rights and Development, which is the AfroNet. So these are examples of international organizations that are there. Then another one is Transparent International Zambia, which is TIZ, Transparent International Zambia, as an international organization. Then another one is the Media Institute of Southern Africa, which is the MISA in short. Then another one is actually business associations. We have industrial association, professional association, faith-based organization, which is FBOS. All right. Then lastly, we have the trade unions and pressure groups. So these are examples of international civil society organizations which are there. All right, then let's move on and look at another type of society organization, which is pressure groups. So the first thing is to look at what are pressure groups. So we are saying pressure groups are civil society organizations formed to influence government policy and decisions on specific issue. Okay, and they disband or they dissolve themselves after achieving their goals. All right, so civil society organizations such as pressure groups are just civil society organizations formed to influence government policy and decisions on certain or specific issues. Okay, so pressure groups focus on particular issues or areas of concern. So these issues can range from environmental protection, human rights, health care, education, labor rights, to consumer protection, among other things. Okay, so the specific nature of issue determines the pressure group which is going to be there. All right, so now we are saying these influence government policy and decision on specific issues. How do pressure groups actually influence government policy and decision? So they do so through pressure groups by using various methods to influence government policy decisions, which they do by direct interacting with the policymakers such as members of parliament, and also by meeting government officials or legislators to persuade them to support or oppose specific policies or legislation. So what they do, they have actually to go out there, meet these lawmakers, and then influence them to oppose or support any specific legislation that the government may be there to pass in or through. Then also by raising public awareness and support for their cause through media campaigns, social media advertisements, and public demonstration. Also by garnering public support, they can put pressure on the government to act in their favor. Okay, so they also influence government policy and decision by organizing rallies, marches, and sit-ins to show the strength of public opinion on an issue. So large-scale demonstration can draw media attention and pressure the government to respond. So this is how they actually influence government policy and decision on specific issues. They can also take legal steps such as filing lawsuits or challenging policies in court to influence public changes or halt certain government actions. So they do a lot of these pressure groups, even when nowadays we can't see them acting in these years, but long time ago pressure groups had these roles. Okay, they used to influence government policy and decisions on specific issues. All right, so let's look at examples of pressure groups. So examples of pressure groups are this one called the ORCC Forum. Then we also have the Citizen Forum, and then we have the Committee for Clean Campaign, which is CCC. All right. So other civil organization are civic organization. Okay, I'm saying other civil society organization and civic organization that we talk about. So what are civic organization? We are saying civic organization focus on issues like education, human rights, and good governance. Examples of these includes Zambia Civic Education Association, which is ZCEA, then Foundation for Democratic Process, which is FODEP, and then we have Anti-Voter Apathy Program, which is AVAPO. All right. Then we have also this one called the Non-Governmental Organizations Coordinating Committee, which is NGOCC. And then we have also the Operating Young Vote, or YV, and then the National Movement Against Corruption, which is NAMAC. And then we now look at women's group as civil society organizations. All right. So what are women's groups? What are women's groups? We are saying these are women groups which work to promote and protect women's rights. So these in governance, they are there to do what? To ensure that they protect and promote women's rights. So examples of women's groups include Women for Change, which is WFC, and then National Women's Lobby Group, which is NWLG. Then we have Young Women's Christian Association, which is YWCM. Then we have also what is known as Zambia Alliance of Women, which is ZAW. And then we have Forum for African Women Educationalist of Zambia, which is FAWEZA. And then we have Women in Development, which is WID. Then we move on, and also we have Society for Women Against AIDS in Zambia, which is SWAAZ. All right. So these are some of the examples of women's groups. Then next we look at professional associations and as civil society organizations. What are professional associations? We are saying these are associations formed by individuals in the same profession to promote and protect their interest. They also educate people on their rights and sometimes act as pressure groups. Yeah. So professional association, they are there like the ones we hear like Betus, Zanuti, Sestus. Like these are association for teachers that I've mentioned, which are there. So they are called professional associations because they are formed by individuals in the same profession. Like these associations for teachers, which are called like the Zanut, Betus, and Sistus, and so forth, and so on. So these are there to promote and protect their interests. Like they are there to persuade the government to improve the condition of service of teachers by maybe increasing their salaries and other related conditions. So they also educate people on their rights and sometimes act as pressure groups. Okay, so let us look at examples of these professional associations. So examples include one, Law Association of Zambia, LAZ. So this one is it is a professional association for lawyers. Then we have Women in Law and Development in Africa. Then we have Zambia Independent Media Association, which is ZIMA, which is related to these journalists. Then we have Press Association of Zambia, which is related to media. And then we have Zambia Association of Civic Education Teachers, which is related to teachers. Then we have Zambia Association of Religious Education Teachers. Then we have Language Teachers Association of Zambia, which is LTAZ. And then we look at industrial organizations as civil society organizations. So the question again, what are industrial organizations? We are saying these are organizations formed by people in the same industry to safeguard their interest. All right, so industrial organizations are organizations that are formed by people in the same industry to safeguard their interest. Examples of these organizations or industrial organizations are: number one, the labor movement, which is also known as the trade unions. Also, Zambia Association of Manufacturers, which is ZAM, ZAM. And then we have also Zambia National Farmers Union, ZNFU. And then we have also the Zambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, which is ZACC. And then we have Zambia Consumers Association, which is ZCM. Then we have Zambia Cross Border Traders Association, which is ZCBTM. And then we have the Zambia Federation for Women in Business, which is ZFWB. And then we have Zambia National Marketeers Association, which is ZNAMA. And then now we look at religious organizations as civil society organizations. So we are saying, what are religious organizations? We are saying these are organizations which includes churches and other faith-based groups which often address governance issues like constitutional reform, unemployment, and corruption. Yeah, so we have also religious organizations which are there. They include churches and other faith-based groups, and their aim is to address governance issues like constitutional reforms. If government tries to reform some constitutional issues, these then come in to ensure that government is doing the right thing. They also look at issues of unemployment. They also look at issues of corruption. Examples of these religious organizations include Zambia Evangelical Fellowship, which is ZEF, and then we have Council of Churches in Zambia, which is the CCZ, and then we have also the Catholic Commission for Peace, Justice and Development, which is the CCJPD, now Caritas Zambia. That is what it is called now. Then we have also Young Women's Christian Associations, YWCA, and then we have also Young Men's Christian Association, which is YMCA, and then we have Islamic Association of Zambia, IAZ. All right. Now let us look at now the roles of civil society in governance. All right. So the first role is to defend democracy by checking defend democracy by checking democratic tendencies in government policies. So that's what they do. These civil society organizations, they ensure that they are defending democracy by checking democratic tendencies in government policies. They also carry out civic education, where they educate the citizen and raise public awareness on issues like HIV and AIDS and human rights and poverty. They also influence public opinion through advocacy for specific objectives. Then they also do debate bills, influence legislative decisions through seminars. They also act as agents of democratic change by advocating for reforms and equality. All right. They also defend and promote human rights and the rule of law and also promote accountability and transparency in governance. They also ensure government accountability to the public, focusing on corruption and transparency. They also promote channels for public participation in governance and community decision. They also act as a link between the community and the government. They also provide checks and balances by criticizing bad policies and suggesting alternatives, and also publicize and articulate the demands of their members, like gender equity in leadership. So this is it, guys. We have come to the end of this civic education lesson on civil society and media in governance. I hope this lesson has enlightened you. As for now, guys, bye and see you in the next lesson.